In today's society, modern industrialized agriculture is very controversial. It includes things such as selective breeding, animal husbandry, and genetic modification. The controversy of modern agriculture could also be compared to the eugenics, selective breeding, and genetic modification in Aldous Huxley's Brave New World. Animal husbandry is defined as taking care of domestic animals that are primarily used for goods and services. Ranchers, farmers, sheep herders, or people who take care of animals in general, especially in large groups, practice animal husbandry. In the sense of modern agriculture, animal husbandry is making domesticated animals as beneficial to us as we possibly can through maximizing efficiency. In these pictures, cattle and chickens are crammed into pens to maximize efficiency and maximize a company's profit margin. There are several tactics used in industrial farming. In chicken farming, lights are often left on through some of the night to increase egg production, because chickens have evolved to lay eggs when more light is present. Genetically modified crops are another huge industry for modern agriculture. This is another prime example of humans trying to maximize efficiency and profit in natural processes, such as in the growth of plants and crops. Genetic engineering in plants has been incredibly effective and efficient. Traditional selective breeding in plants is slow and is very time-consuming. However, genetic modification leads to more instant results, and thus instant gratification, to magnify the desired results such as taste, size, color, drought resistance, etc. Selective breeding is also being undertaken for animals in order to enhance desired traits. Humans are essentially speeding up the process of natural selection in order to enhance desired traits. For example, chickens are used for two purposes, meat or eggs. Therefore, some chickens are bred specifically for meat or specifically for eggs. These two chickens are both the same age, but thanks to selective breeding, the chicken on the left has grown far more rapidly. These chickens are the results of an experiment by students in Australia who were experimenting with the effects of selective breeding. They bred only the best cockles with the best hens, which had their desired traits, fast growth, and more meat. This is a growth comparison chart between the layer chicken, bred for eggs, and the meat chicken. The comparison was made when the chickens were 45 days old, which is usually when chickens are butchered. However, there is a dark side to the effectiveness of selective breeding. This meat chicken has grown so rapidly that it cannot support its weight since its leg muscles have not developed as fast as the meat on its body. It will not be able to eat or drink. The Belgian blue cow was bred because of random genetic mutation, the basic building block for natural selection and evolution. It has the double muscle mutation, which is very beneficial for meat production for humans, but is devastating for the cattle. The increased muscle creates difficulty for cattle giving birth. As a result, most Belgian blue cows must be born via cesarean section. Scientists believe that with the genetic engineering, this double muscling gene could be passed to other animals such as sheep, pigs, or chicken. Cloning is another aspect of modernized agriculture. On February 22, 1997, Ian Wilmot announced the first successful cloning of the first mammal in history, Dolly the sheep. This cutting-edge research in animal husbandry is known as farming. As modern agriculture continues to advance, so do people's concerns over the safety of these foods, as well as the ethical and moral implications of industrialized agriculture. Eugenics is defined as the applied science of the biosocial movement which advocates the use of practices aimed at improving the genetic composition of a population. It calls for the improvement of human heredity traits by promoting high reproduction between people who are more desirable and less reproduction for less desirable people and traits. Eugenics has been used throughout history, and the most infamous instance of eugenics was in Adolf Hitler's final solution. The Nazi regime systematically tried to cleanse the Aryan nation by removing the old, diseased, sick, and other undesirables. This led to the genocide of millions of Jewish people and other minorities. They performed countless genetic experiments, including experiments on the genetics of twins. In Aldous Huxley's Brave New World, humans are not born. They are systematically created and raised in laboratory test tubes, and have been preconditioned to have a specific role in society. They are essentially produced in assembly line production. In this society, human beings are selectively bred in this manner to be genetically perfect, and based on these genes, they are sorted into a caste system that defines their place in society. Certain women and men were selected to pass on their desirable genetic traits, the rest of the society was either sterilized or given contraceptives. In Brave New World, a single batch of eggs was now able to produce hundreds of sets of identical twins, all of whom were genetically desirable. The director describes it to his students as such: millions of identical twins. The principle of mass production at last applied to biology. In this society, the worth of a human is only their worth to society. Children aren't valuable until they can work and contribute to society. The eugenics in Brave New World leads to rampant dehumanization, as children are manufactured. According to Leon R. Cass, to achieve the requisite quality control of new human life, human contraception will need to be brought fully into the light of the laboratory, beneath which the child-to-be can be fertilized, nourished, pruned, weeded, watched, inspected, prodded, pinched, cajoled, injected, tested, rated, graded, approved, stamped, wrapped, sealed, and delivered. There is no other way to produce the perfect baby. This is exactly what has transpired in Brave New World. There have been increasing concerns when it comes to modern agriculture. The safety of genetically modified products as well has been called into question in recent years. Humans have an assumption that the food we are buying is safe to eat. But with increased genetic modification, is it? Up to 80 million people get sick from food-caused illness each year in the United States, and more go unreported each year. In one study of genetically modified soybeans, it was found that there was a 12 to 14% decrease in phytoestrogens, which protect against heart disease, osteoporosis, and breast cancer. This is a significant nutrient loss. In addition to nutrient loss, chemicals on or in some foods have been linked to cancer and other long-term illnesses. Many of the significant gen food crops are engineered to either tolerate higher than usual amounts of herbicides or to contain pesticides in each cell. Studies are being conducted to determine the long-term effects of such genetic modification, but early studies have indicated that these chemicals are causing long-term illness. Plants and animals are also pumped full of antibiotics, regardless if they need them or not. These antibiotics stay in their system until they are ingested by humans, which leads to antibiotic resistance in humans. We are left with the possibility of human beings finding that their ability to be cured of infections by certain antibiotics could decline or even disappear as people eat food containing antibiotic-resistant genes. One example of such chemicals is RBGH, or recombinant bovine growth hormone. This chemical increases milk production in dairy cows, but they have been implicated in many health problems for both the cattle and humans, including udder infections, risk of both breast and colon cancer, and bone tumors in children. Eugenics, selective breeding, and genetic modification are all incredibly controversial and bring up several key moral and ethical issues. In eugenics, it is clear that at some point a minority group could easily be perceived as less intelligent or less desirable than another, and would then be eradicated. This is exactly what happened during the Holocaust, one of the most heinous crimes against humanity in history. Similarly, there are many outcries against selective breeding and genetic modification in the world of modern agriculture. Conditions of animals, such as the Belgian blue, have been repeatedly called into question. Is it right to streamline efficiency at the cost of poor conditions and suffering for animals? Efficiency is a key theme in both the society of Brave New World and our industrialized agriculture today. In Brave New World, humans are essentially animals and are only considered as objects in their society. This desire for efficiency leads to egregious dehumanization. They are measured by their usefulness and their efficiency, much as animals and crops are measured today. Cloning brings society into the bio-industrial age by guaranteeing the kind of quantifiable standards of measurement, predictability, and efficiency that have been previously used to transform inanimate matter and energy into mass-produced material goods. Jeremy Rifkin. The rapidly advancing technologies of our society today are allowing scientists or those in power to play God, as they have in Brave New World. These scientists or other self-appointed arbitrators of human excellence have complete authority to decide which genes are beneficial, which are not, and what the bad genes will be replaced with. But who can define what a good gene versus a bad gene is? This germline genetic manipulation will lead us down a dangerous path, a path that looks startlingly like Brave New World. There is no question that some forms of modern agriculture have benefited society in some limited forms. However, how far are we really willing to go? When will we take the next step of cloning, selectively breeding, and genetically modifying humans? Is modern agriculture the stepping stone to a brave new world, or something close to it?